Hello everyone, I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today, we're diving into a deeply moving story as Alex secretly plans a massive surprise to protect Tuna's future. But will his hidden gesture be enough to help her finally escape the shadows of her past? Let's find out together. The morning light today feels different. Softer, more deliberate. It filters through the dense tree canopy outside, casting long, swaying shadows across the floor of the small house. In the middle of this stillness, Tuna is already moving. She's caught in a gentle, rhythmic dance, her hands swaying back and forth to soothe little Henry. He's at that restless age where sleep and hunger are fighting a constant battle, and his tiny, fussy whimpers are the only thing breaking the silence. Tuna watches him with a look that's hard to describe. It's a mix of bone-deep exhaustion and a kind of devotion that only a mother understands. She knows this routine by heart. She's not just a parent, she's the anchor of this home. She moves toward the small kitchen corner to start the porridge. There's something incredibly grounding about the sounds of a simple home waking up. The soft clink of a pot, the splash of water, and then Tuna's voice. It's warm, barely a whisper, yet it echoes through the peaceful space. She's talking to Henry, her words more of a melody than a conversation. In this specific niche of rural life, these moments are everything. The house is simple, yes, but in the morning light it feels like a sanctuary. Just as the steam begins to curl up from the pot, the grandmother steps into the room. Her presence is like a calm wave, immediately settling the energy of the house. She sees Tuna trying to balance the cooking with the baby's needs and steps in without a word. "Let me take him," she says, her voice steady and kind. She agrees to feed Henry the porridge so that Tuna can head outside to tend to the chickens. As the grandmother sits with the baby, she praises him for being so obedient, her eyes twinkling as she watches him take his first spoonful. Henry is a good baby. He's hungry and he knows he's safe. He swallows each spoonful dutifully, his eyes half closed, drifting back toward a satisfied slumber even as he eats. It's a quiet moment of family bonding, a scene that feels like the very definition of warmth. While the grandmother handles the feeding, Tuna is outside. This is the reality of her world, a constant shift between the softness of motherhood and the grit of manual labor. By the time she returns, her hands are a bit dusty, but her focus is sharp. She sees that Henry has nearly finished his meal and is finally falling into a deep sleep. With a quick, practiced efficiency, she pivots back to the stove to finish breakfast for the adults. "Breakfast is ready," she calls out softly, inviting the grandmother to the table. The meal is humble, but as the grandmother takes her first bite, she can't help but compliment it. "This is delicious, Tuna," she says, but the praise is followed by a gentle nudge. She urges Tuna to eat quickly. The pigs need tending, the chickens need more attention, and the harvest is waiting. In this niche, the work never truly ends. It just changes shape. As they sit there, the conversation turns toward Alex and his mother. Tuna's voice changes when she mentions them. It becomes thicker, laced with a deep, trembling gratitude. She speaks of their care, the way they've looked out for her when she felt most alone. There's a flicker of hope in her eyes that wasn't there a few months ago. The grandmother just smiles, sensing that this shift in their fortune is like a cool breeze on a stifling day. It's slowly dispelling the daily pressures that used to feel like an impossible weight. Once the meal is finished, Tuna doesn't linger. She clears the table, her mind already halfway to the fields. She bids a quiet farewell to the grandmother and picks up her tools for the harvest. As she steps across the threshold, there's a brief, sharp pang of regret. She looks back at the old house, the walls that have seen so much struggle and so many memories. It's a complicated relationship with the past, but as she turns her face toward the sun, that regret is overshadowed by a mounting sense of hope. She's working toward a safer future, a life where the roof doesn't leak and the walls don't groan under the weight of a storm. The morning atmosphere seems to slow down as she walks. It's a strange contrast, the heavy burden of the physical work she's about to do versus the small, delicate joys of the family she's leaving behind for the day. Inside, Henry is sleeping soundly, protected by the grandmother. For Tu Na, this is a psychological turning point. She's moving from that initial bone-deep worry that has defined her life for so long toward a state of temporary peace. She's preparing herself to face a new day that she knows will be full of challenges. But the difference now is that she isn't facing them alone. The pressure of rural life is visible in everything she does. The way she carries her shoulders, the calluses on her hands, the way she calculates every minute of her time. But the support from Alex has started to fill the inner void that fear used to occupy. It's a metaphor for a sturdy home built in the middle of a storm. The wind might still howl, but the foundation is finally solid. This scene deepens the emotional attachment we feel toward her journey, highlighting those subtle shifts in the psyche where fatigue meets resilience and solitude finds solace in unseen bonds. As Tu Na heads deeper into the fields, the scene shifts to Alex. He's sitting alone, but his mind is miles away. He's flipping through various house models, the pages turning slowly as he ponders the reality of Tu Na's situation. He knows she's afraid of the costs, afraid to even dream of something better because she doesn't want to be a burden. But Alex has already made up his mind. He looks at the designs, considering how to blend the old with the new. He decides they'll keep the old house to use as a kitchen. It holds too many memories to simply tear down. But for the main living space, she needs something different. He envisions a wooden house, spacious, sturdy, and built to protect them from the elements. This is a silent gesture, a plan he's forming in the quiet of his own thoughts. But it reveals a deep, unspoken affection. Alex finally selects a model that feels right. He doesn't waste any time. He picks up the phone and calls Uncle Dung. His voice is firm, filled with a sense of urgency as he explains the design. He requests the wooden framing to be done as quickly as possible, reiterating the plan to keep the old structure as the kitchen area. To Alex, this isn't just a construction project. It's a metaphor for building a solid foundation for a future that has been shaky for far too long. Uncle Dung, sensing the importance, agrees immediately, promising to move as fast as he can. You can see the relief wash over Alex, but it's only partial. The pressure of his own life is still weighing on him. His thoughts drift toward the grapefruit warehouse. He's been away too long, and he's starting to worry. Has Ms. Lan shipped any trucks yet? How much inventory is actually left? The mental transition from his personal mission for Tu Na back to the cold reality of his business is jarring. He decides he can't just sit and wonder, he needs to check for himself. He stands up, his movements carrying a mix of hope for what he's building and a touch of regret that he hasn't been able to monitor the business more closely. This is the climax of his morning, a psychological turning point where his personal contemplation about Tu Na's well-being turns into concrete, physical action. It creates a profound inner drama, contrasting the warmth of domestic care with the hurried pace of business logistics. The space around him shifts from the quiet of his office to the anticipated chaos of the warehouse. It's in these gaps, between the daily concerns and the big dreams, where the real story is written. The wooden beams he's planning aren't just for a house, they're symbols of unbreakable ties. It's a slow, introspective revelation of how strength and vulnerability can live in the same heart, as the day truly begins to pull him in a dozen different directions. As Alex steps back into the main house, the air shifts from the quiet, cool intensity of his office to something much more vibrant and grounded. He finds his mother there, just returning from the market. She's carrying several heavy bags, and while you can see the slight weariness in her posture, the kind that comes from a morning of navigating crowded stalls and bartering, her face lights up with a tired but undeniably warm smile the moment she sees him. She begins storing the food, her movements methodical and rhythmic, a silent testament to the years she spent keeping this household running. There's a comfort in this scene, a reminder that while Alex is busy building the future, his mother is the one ensuring the present is taken care of. "Are you getting ready for work?" she asks, her voice cutting through the quiet rustle of grocery bags. Alex nods, confirming the long day ahead of him. He starts to recount the list of tasks waiting for him at the warehouse. It's a heavy load. The goods are coming in fast, and he needs to personally check the grapefruit quantities. In their specific business niche, precision is everything. One wrong count or a missed shipment can ripple through their entire operation. They begin to talk shop, a conversation they've had many times before, but today it feels more urgent. The conversation turns to the grapefruits themselves. The current stock is nearly finished, which is actually good news. It means demand is high. They discuss the transition to selling the red grapefruits, a premium product that always commands a higher price. Alex mentions how satisfied the customers have been lately. The feedback has been so positive that people are already pre-ordering the entire stock for their TET displays. In this culture, those displays are a big deal, a symbol of prosperity and luck for the new year. And Alex knows that being the reliable source for that tradition is a major win for their business. His mother listens, her pride in him evident in the way she pauses her work to really look at him. She praises his skill, not just in business, but in the way he handles the people around him. But she doesn't let the conversation stay on business for too long. Her thoughts, like Alex's, are often with Tu Na. She inquires about how Tu Na is doing with her work training. Alex explains that she's still deep in her studies. He's had Secretary Lan taking her under her wing, teaching her the technical side of the business that you can't just pick up by watching. He's also bought her a collection of books, wanting her to have a solid theoretical foundation to match the practical skills she's learning on the farm. "I'm hoping she absorbs it all quickly," Alex admits, his voice carrying a hint of the pressure he's been feeling. He's not just doing this for her sake. He's doing it for their shared future. He needs her to be able to assist him, to be a true partner in the business, so he doesn't have to carry the entire weight of the operation on his own shoulders. It's a significant psychological turning point for him. It's the moment where his concern for her well-being evolves into a vision of a shared life where they support each other. His mother nods, her belief in Tu Na's potential unwavering. "She'll get there, Alex," she encourages him. "She has the heart for it, and that's the hardest part to teach." The conversation flows slowly now, moving from the fast-paced world of market prices to the much more personal project of the farm renovation. Alex tells his mother about the work he's starting at Tu Na's place. He mentions the old house, how it simply isn't safe anymore, especially with the storm season approaching. He tells her about the tall trees he's already had cut down, the ones that posed a threat to the roof. It's a slow, deliberate process of clearing away the old dangers to make room for something new. As they talk, you can feel the contrast between the business success they just discussed and these deep-seated personal worries. The pressure from work is still there, vibrating in Alex's voice, but it's being balanced out by a mounting sense of hope. He talks about leveling the ground, preparing the site for the new wooden frame. It's a metaphor for what he's trying to do with Tu Na's life, clearing away the jagged, unstable parts of her past to build something that can actually stand the test of time. His mother agrees with the plan, her support providing Alex with the emotional fuel he needs to keep going. But as she speaks, there's a touch of regret in her eyes, a lingering sadness over the hardships Tu Na has had to face. It's a shared sentiment, a recognition of the weight Tu Na has carried alone for so long. This scene acts as the emotional climax of their mourning, a moment where the mother's support meets Alex's determination. It's a transition from a general sense of anxiety to a very specific, focused set of actions. The narrative at this point feels like it's standing right beside them, capturing the subtle shifts in their psyche. You can sense the internal transformations happening in real time, Alex moving from the role of a worried observer to a decisive builder. This whole interaction is a deep dive into the emotional layers of their lives, where the bonds of family are constantly being tested by the demands of a difficult world. The market bags sitting on the counter, filled with the day's sustenance, become a symbol of the everyday reality they are navigating. But the conversation about the new house, the wooden beams, and the future business partnership that represents their grander aspirations. It's a story of security and love being built from the ground up, one decision at a time. The psyche of these characters is slowly unfolding, revealing a profound sense of hope that exists even in the middle of a storm. As the conversation winds down, Alex prepares to finally head out to the warehouse. The air in the house feels lighter now, the plans have been spoken aloud, and the path forward is clear. He knows the day will be long and the work will be hard, but the foundation, both for the house and for his life with Tu Na, is finally being laid. The solitude he once felt in his work is being replaced by a sense of shared purpose, a feeling that no matter how hard the wind blows, they are building something that won't break. The scene leaves us in a state of cinematic introspection, watching as the quiet domesticity of the home prepares to meet the hurried efficiency of the outside world. It's a reminder that strength isn't always found in grand gestures. Sometimes it's found in the decision to cut down a dangerous tree, to buy a book for someone you care about, or to simply share a meal before a long day of work. The vulnerability of their situation is still there, but it's being wrapped in a layer of resilience that is as sturdy as the wooden beams Alex is about to order. The narrative lingers on this feeling of attachment, the unseen bonds that tie these characters together through life's tempests. As Alex walks out the door, the story of the day continues, but the inner transformation is already complete. He is no longer just surviving the pressure of his niche. He is actively shaping it into something beautiful. In a quiet, rural home, Tu Na balances the exhaustion of motherhood with the grind of farm labor, finding temporary peace through the support of the grandmother and a growing bond with Alex. While Tu Na harvests in the fields, Alex makes a life-changing decision to transform her fragile existence. He commissions a sturdy new wooden house, blending the old kitchen's memories with a resilient new structure designed to withstand any storm. As he manages the high-stakes demands of his grapefruit business, he also invests in Tu Na's education, envisioning her as a future partner. This narrative captures a profound psychological shift where personal devotion meets professional pressure. Ultimately, the rising wooden beams symbolize more than construction. They represent a sturdy foundation of hope, resilience, and an unbreakable tie between two souls, building a safer future together.